Hello, welcome to 100 Poems in 100 Days. I'm Robert Stocks. Today I've got a poem for you that was inspired by my experience when I was at university and we're doing field trips up into the Flinders Ranges, and I was looking at the impact of African Boxthorn on the native vegetation. So here's a poem inspired by that. It's called A Spiky Invasion. It's day 42. And here we go. On an ancient iron-rich hillside in the southern Flinders Ranges, the native tree spirits play and romp over gibber stones and amongst the emu and bullock bush and into the stands of the acacia. They watch the seasons come and go and delight in the evening as the multicoloured light of sundown fades through dusk into the star-laden night. Eventually strange birds and animals start to appear. One day, down in the valley below, a giant roadway is constructed by men and roaring machines. The spirits retreat deeper into their cubbyholes. One morning, they feel a difference in the air. Some small plants are emerging from the soil. They don't know these ones. They have that same feel as the new birds and animals, the starlings, the rabbits, and the foxes. For a full turning of seasons, they silently sit and watch the bushes grow, alarmed by the strength of their taproot digging deeper into the soil. Thick, sharp spikes cover the branches so they are not grazed upon by the local animals, ruse, emu, or hopping mouse. They are passed over by wandering, passing sheep and cattle. Drought arrives, and the local flora is threatened. Within another year, all but one of the new plants has succumbed. But with the annual rain, the last invader grows and flourishes. Within a few years, it's producing yellow flowers and a small red fruit, greedily consumed by native and new birds alike, and the secretive fox. One morning, the spirits find a new form of their own kind among them. A boxthorn sprite emerges from the ground below the new bush. "This is not my home," says the sprite. "You have not asked permission to live here," answer the tree spirits. The sprite smiles and said, "We will see." Within a few years, the African boxthorn becomes a tall, strong tree, resilient in the lack of water and high temperatures. Smaller local birds take shelter in its thorny branches, and animals delight in its red, juicy fruit. The local spirits ask the sprite to take his thorn tree and leave. The sprite threatens to encircle them with his ever-growing sucker roots lurking below the rock and sandy dirt. Laughing as his powers grow, he plays his own games and dreams of another land far away. One dawn, a stranger arrives, and the sprite and spirits duck for cover. A man walks up from the road some way below, leaving a large truck parked on the roadside. Ben has been driving all night and needs a crap and a break. Stretching his legs, he climbs the steep hillside, anticipating the dawn and the conclusion of his morning ablutions. In the thin light, he drops his dax and bends down to position himself for the bodily purge, which is becoming more urgent with each passing second. A roar erupts from his throat as his bare backside comes into contact with a thorn from a hidden branch. Ben jumps to his feet and rages at the revealed boxthorn tree. Muttering and cursing, he carefully moves off and finds a safer seat to relieve the belly pressure. The diatribe continues as he disappears down the hill back to the truck. Gingerly, the spirits venture out to see the sprite rolling around laughing at the plight of the truckman. When suddenly violence erupts as a swinging axe falls down upon the unsuspecting boxthorn. Back in their hiding dens, the spirits cringe and startle with each cut and thrust of Ben's axe as he deals the pain and misery in his bottom out upon the brazen thorn bush. Later, after he has completed his destructive task and waddled down the hill and driven off in a roar of diesel-fed motor and fumes, The sprites are relieved that the bush is gone, and there is no sign of the pesky sprite. They play merrily through the eramofla and acacia, climbing high into the ancient bullock bushes. It is not until after the next rains that the small green sucker roots begin to force their way up from the thin, red desert earth. There we go, a bit of excitement. Could be a children's tale, apart from the word bottom in there. Still, enjoy whatever creative processes you're using yourself to cope with our social distancing, which still continues. And take care, look for the beauty in life, have that sense of appreciation, and keep moving forward in your life. See you tomorrow with another poem. Bye.